I'm Jenna Love from the Somebody You Love podcast. I work in the adult industry. I'm also polyamorous, and that's what this is about. It says, don't you want to be someone's number one? And the short answer is no, I really don't. In fact, that is quite an alarming concept to me. I feel like that feels like a lot of pressure. So short answer is no, but you know me, I've got a long answer too. So I made the foolish mistake of dating someone monogamous, not once, but twice. So we had a lot of discussions around this sort of stuff because we were madly in love and very compatible, apart from this giant thing where we're just not compatible. And as I always have to qualify, I don't think there's anything wrong with monogamy. What I take issue with is toxic monogamy and compulsory monogamy. But if you want to be monogamous, go forth. If you want to be someone's number one and you want to have a number one, then go do that for sure. But this exact phrasing is really interesting because I think the moment where for me I went, okay, this cannot work, is when he said to me, I just feel like I need to be someone's number one. Which I thought was bonkers because he has 3 kids. And so in my mind, I was like, but you can't offer the same to anyone. The most you could possibly offer would be for someone to be your 4th priority, as it should be. And that's fine. Like, that's not a bad thing. That's how it should be. So I thought that was quite interesting mental gymnastics, but of course his perspective is different. And I guess it is this thing of exceptionalizing romantic love and romantic partnerships in your life, because I think most of us are very comfortable with the idea of loving 2 parents, of loving multiple siblings, loving multiple friends. But when it comes to romantic intimacy and even sexual intimacy for a lot of people, it's different. I do understand that the world we live in does mean that it is a little bit different in terms of like living together, combining finances, all of those sorts of things, the relationship escalator. Like, we live in a world that's very much been built around the idea of monogamy. But that doesn't mean that it's what's best for all of us. So I have multiple romantic partners. I have multiple friends. I have my mum and dad. I have 2 godchildren. I have my cats. Ava's just walked into the room right on cue. So I have a lot of priorities. I also have my business, my career, my studies, my passions. I have so many priorities in my life, Hello, monkey. And yeah, I've got to juggle though. But that is an adult life. That's the true nature of adult relationships, which is that they are complicated. Like, there's this real the idea of baggage is so talked about, and I don't really understand it because it's not baggage, it's just humanity. An example of this prioritizing situation, I think, for me is my partner, who I've been with for coming up to 9 years now. I have not met his parents. None of his partners have met his parents. He doesn't want that to be a thing. His parents, I think, presumably think he's living a bachelor lifestyle at this point in his life. And he's not. He has plenty of female company. And I think they'd probably love to know that, to be honest. But regardless, that's his choice, right? And that is a shame. Like, I do feel like, I would love to meet his parents because they sound wonderful and bonkers, like most parents, I think. But it's also not the end of the world. The other thing is, I've been married to my husband. We've been together 15, 16, I'm so bad at dates, many years. And I never met his dad. I've never met my father-in-law because he passed away before I came onto the scene. And again, that's a shame because he speaks very lovingly about his dad, and I wish I could have met that person. But it's not, like, it's okay. Like, I think what I'm trying to say is that life is just not perfect and things happen the way they happen. And so the idea of meeting a person who just ticks every single little box in your square and you tick every single little box in their square and it's perfect and it's just the 2 of you forever and nothing, like, I just think that's a bit insane. Yeah, so I think for some people, monogamous people, the idea of not being able to meet parents might seem horrifying and like I've been deprioritized in his life. But I think there are lots of situations where even if we were monogamous, what if his parents had passed away? What if they were estranged? What if I met them and I hated them? Like, I just don't think that that has any bearing on our relationship. And the other thing this monogamous ex said to me was that he looks at his parents as the ideal relationship and what he wants to have. Now, his mum has been in a home for a number of years now. She has dementia. It's so hard. It's an awful, awful disease. And his dad goes to the home every single day to visit her and spends hours sitting with her. She doesn't, recognize him and all of that. And he knows that when his mum goes, his dad will probably go soon after, and that there isn't much more in his life. And he sees that as peak romance. That's what he wants. And that terrifies me. I like the thought that if something happened to me that my husband just wouldn't be able to go on is deeply disturbing. I don't want that. I think our society like romanticizes this ultra dependence, and it's just not something that makes me feel safe at all. And again, if it makes you feel safe, then great, then do that. But it's just different perspectives on relationships, I guess.